Welcome to Scriptural Snapshots, brought to you by Living Faith Ministries in Kaiser, West Virginia, where we bring the living Word of God into your life. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. The angel appeared to Mary, and as he appeared to Mary, he spoke to her, and he brought what turned out to be a Rhema word of God to her. And when she asked, well, how is this going to come to pass? He says, no Rhema of God is impossible. No Rhema of God. We found out in Jeremiah 1:12 that God is watching over his word to perform it. We found out in Psalm 138 verse 2 that God has magnified his word above all of his name. Because we don't believe the Rhema word of God, because we don't see God in operation, it's because we don't see it. We don't hear it. We don't believe it. We don't accept it. I can think of just in this whole situation over the last 2 years of COVID, and I know we're at this point we're out of it. Although some are still trying to bring us back into it. There's the World Health Organization is trying to prepare us for the next pandemic and they literally have said, just yesterday I heard this. Literally have said that they're planning to shut the whole world down if there's another outbreak of some kind of a massive worldwide flu. Really? We've seen what that did the first time, and it collapsed economies. It's hurt the world. It's made people starve. It's lost jobs, lost economic opportunity, lost educational value, and they're saying we're going to do it even on a larger scale. I'll tell you, if you watch that, you get panicky. If you watch that stuff and believe that stuff, I believe, and I'll just prophesy, God will not allow that to happen if the church doesn't allow it to happen, because we're the voice of God in the earth. But the thing is, we don't believe the Rhema. If you don't believe the Rhema word of God, you don't see God in operation. And what I see in the midst of all this is I see the word of God that he's spoken the last 2 years. I've seen the things he's spoken beforehand, and I've seen that word of God come to pass over and over and over and over. And yet I know other people, and they say, well, I don't see God doing anything at all during the last 2 years. I don't see any of what you're talking about. That's because they're not looking at the Rhema. They don't believe the Rhema, and if you don't believe the Rhema, you can't see what God's doing, because you're just going by natural sight. All you're doing is just going by what you see and what you hear on the news. And I'm telling you, the news is not God. And the news doesn't know God. I don't care what network you watch. All they know is the wisdom of men. And most of the time, they're wrong. One of the news networks that I tend to watch a lot has even said when there's a crisis and there's a shooting or there's something, and then you find out that after about 5 or 6 or 10 hours, you find out that everything, almost literally everything you heard at the beginning was wrong. Well, why is it wrong? Because they're so busy trying to decipher everything in the natural that they're missing what's really going on, and they're making up stuff to fill up airtime, and they're just chattering and chattering and chattering. And I'll tell you, that's not God. God has prophesied things in the past, and he's bringing those things to pass right now. You say, well, Gordon, I just don't see it. Well, you're looking in the wrong place. I'm telling you, you're not listening to God. You're not listening to his word. You're not listening to his prophets. You're not listening to what's going on. If Mary would have heard this word from the angel and just simply said, well, I just don't see it, nothing would have happened to her. And God would have gone to somebody else, and somebody else with a different name would become the mother of the Son of God, because God was doing this thing not based on her perfection or her holiness, but because she was willing to hear God. And I'm telling you, God is at work in the earth, but we cannot see past natural events. And because we can't see past the natural, we can't see in the spirit realm what is really going on. We can't see what God is doing. See, to see in the spirit is to see through the eyes of God, is to see things through prophecy, that as God reveals it to us, let me say it a little bit clearer. Through prophecy, God reveals to us what he sees. And when the Rhema of God is revealed to us, God is imparting to you what he sees, even though it hasn't come to pass yet. But he's showing you, this is what I see, and this is the revelation. And when you begin to walk in that revelation, you have peace, you have confidence. We're going to overcome this. We're going to come out. We're going to be better off than we were before. And glory be to God. He's going to get all the praise and all the glory for everything that he's doing, because God is at work right now. This very instant, God is at work. He's watching over his word to perform it. And we need to begin to see in the Rhema through the eyes of God rather than the eyes of the fear of men and the doubt of men, because faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the revealed word of God. I'm Pastor Gordon Brubaker. God bless you.